Have you ever wondered if the universe keeps certain truths folded inside itself, like ancient letters sealed with the wax of cosmic intention? Picture the vast darkness of space, endless and unknowable, and within it, these singularities we call black holes. They loom at the edge of our understanding, swallowing stars, distorting time itself, and whispering riddles across the tapestry of creation. Are black holes merely colossal graveyards where all things vanish into oblivion, or are they something stranger, something more akin to a doorway, a secret portal into realms our language can only begin to describe? Today, I invite you to look beyond the common story, the one that paints black holes as mere monsters devouring all light. What if, instead, they are the hidden passageways between worlds, the wormholes through which consciousness and matter transfigure themselves? The ancients spoke of the axis mundi, the cosmic pillar connecting heaven and earth, and in many ways, black holes are our modern reflections of this myth, a threshold between dimensions where the laws of physics dissolve and the architecture of reality becomes fluid, dreamlike. To explore this question is to journey into the very fabric of existence. It is to stand before a cosmic abyss and feel the pulse of creation tugging at your awareness, reminding you that what you call reality may be only a thin membrane stretched over infinite unseen domains. This inquiry is not only scientific, it is profoundly spiritual. For to contemplate whether black holes are portals to other dimensions is to ask, who are we, truly? Where do we go when we die? Or when we dream? Or when we transcend the illusions of form? In this exploration, we will weave together the discoveries of astrophysics with the echoes of mystery traditions, seeking a synthesis that dissolves the artificial barrier between science and spirit. It is here, in this liminal place, that something ancient within you stirs the part of you that has always known you are more than flesh and bone. You are the witness, the dreamer, the voyager who can cross any threshold if only you remember how. So, if you feel a shiver of recognition, if something in your soul has been waiting to ask these questions, know that you are in the right place. This is a journey not only through the stars, but also into the deepest caverns of your own consciousness. If you resonate with this message, if you feel curiosity blossoming like a secret dawn, I invite you to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to this channel so we can continue unveiling these hidden dimensions together. To peer into the essence of a black hole is to gaze upon a paradox made manifest. At its heart lies the singularity, a point so dense that space and time collapse into a riddle no equation can fully solve. Around it spins the event horizon, the veil beyond which all certainty unravels. In this swirling boundary, physics surrenders to something more primordial, an intelligence of the cosmos that refuses to be measured or contained. What makes a black hole such a potent symbol, and perhaps a literal gateway, is that it embodies the same duality we find within ourselves. There is the visible world, governed by predictable laws and familiar patterns, and then there is the hidden realm, where the soul touches the infinite and all definitions dissolve. Scientists tell us that inside a black hole, the very curvature of space-time grows infinite. This means distance ceases to have meaning. Time becomes an unfathomable spiral rather than a straight line. If you cross the threshold, you would experience reality in ways that no language could prepare you for. Many physicists have proposed that black holes are connected to white holes, hypothetical regions where matter and energy burst forth rather than being swallowed. Together, these two could form a wormhole, a tunnel, linking distant regions of the universe, or even different universes entirely. The equations that describe these phenomena hint at possibilities so strange, they border on myth. And yet, myth itself is often the language we use when our rational minds reach their limit. Across spiritual traditions, we find the same motif repeating, the passage through darkness that leads to rebirth. In the Egyptian Book of the Dead, The soul journeys through a perilous underworld before emerging into the light. In Tibetan Buddhism, the bardo is an in-between realm where consciousness is unbound from form, free to migrate to new incarnations or higher dimensions. And in modern cosmology, the black hole is a kind of bardo of the universe, a place where all that enters is transformed, remade, or perhaps returned to a more essential state. These ideas are not merely poetic metaphors, they are signposts pointing to a deeper truth about existence itself. The universe is not a cold machine, but an unfolding intelligence. Its structures, galaxies, nebulae, black holes, are expressions of a consciousness vast beyond comprehension. When we study these phenomena, we are not looking at something separate from ourselves. We are witnessing reflections of the same forces that birthed our own awareness. The principle of as above, so below reminds us that what is true of the cosmos is true of the soul. Just as a black hole conceals hidden dimensions, so too do you carry within yourself a singularity, a point of infinite potential, infinite knowing. To awaken it is to remember that reality is far more malleable and mysterious than we are taught. If this message stirs something ancient in your soul, subscribe, because the next part of this series goes even deeper. Let us now enter the realm where science yields to myth, where the intellect bows before the imagination's unquenchable hunger to know. Throughout the ages, human beings have woven stories to encircle the unknown, to soften the terror and amplify the wonder. Black holes, in their impenetrable darkness, have become the modern icons of the cosmic mystery, yet their symbolism reaches back to the dawn of consciousness itself. In the Vedic traditions, there is the concept of the cosmic womb Hiranyagarbha, a golden egg from which all universes are born. Imagine, for a moment, that every black hole is such a seed, containing within it the blueprint of a new cosmos, awaiting birth beyond the veil of this one. The singularity, then, is not an endpoint, but a gestation chamber, incubating realities our senses cannot yet detect. In this view, creation and destruction are not opposites but twin faces of the same force. To be devoured by the black hole is to be returned to source, remade, and reborn. In Greek myth, the Orphic mystery spoke of descent into the underworld as a rite of initiation. Persephone is swallowed by the earth, disappearing into darkness, only to emerge transformed by the hidden knowledge she gathered below. So too, the black hole becomes an allegory for the soul's descent into shadow, into the unknown, into the crucible where identity dissolves and something more authentic can arise. Perhaps this is why these cosmic abysses both terrify and fascinate us. They mirror the part of ourselves that yearns to surrender, to let go of all certainty, and to discover what remains when ego's scaffolding collapses. Consider also the image of the Ouroboros, the serpent devouring its own tail. In alchemy, this symbol encapsulates the cycle of death and rebirth, the perpetual renewal of creation consuming itself to be reborn. A black hole is an Ouroboros, etched into space-time itself, a paradox of annihilation and genesis, a mouth that eats reality and perhaps breathes it out elsewhere. In some interpretations of string theory and quantum gravity, what lies beyond the event horizon could be a vast network of hidden dimensions, folded into the fabric of space like secret passageways. This is not fantasy. It is the cutting edge of our scientific models. And yet it resonates with the perennial stories, the shamanic tunnels between worlds, the Egyptian gateways to the Duat, the Hermetic axiom that all planes of existence are connected through the singular point of divine origin. To contemplate these possibilities is to recognize that the human imagination is not merely a byproduct of evolution, but perhaps an instrument of revelation. We dream of other worlds because, on some deep level, we remember them. We fear the black hole because it is the dark mirror of our own unknowing, and we are drawn to it because it is also a promise, that nothing truly ends and all things transform. If this message stirs something ancient in your soul, subscribe, because what comes next reveals even more. When we let these vast ideas breathe within us, when we stop treating them as distant curiosities, and instead recognize them as mirrors of our own spiritual potential, something begins to shift in the texture of our daily lives. The black hole, once an abstract monstrosity, becomes a living metaphor for every threshold we cross, every ending we fear, every transformation we resist. It reveals that what seems to be an annihilation is often the prelude to a more luminous becoming. In moments of crisis, when a chapter of your life collapses under the weight of inevitability, it can feel as if you, too, are spiraling past an event horizon. The familiar reference points vanish. Time loses its coherence. The mind grasps for what is slipping away, and all that remains is the singular gravity of the unknown. Yet, if we learn to see through the eye of the black hole, we discover that surrender is not defeat. It is the path to a deeper integration. The gravity that pulls you in is the same force that can birth a new reality on the other side of your willingness to let go. This understanding can become an anchor when you stand in the midst of change. Instead of clinging to the illusion of permanence, you can trust that what falls away is clearing space for the unimagined. You can remember that life is woven from cycles of consumption and creation, contraction and expansion, an endless dance of dissolution and renewal. And just as astrophysicists peer beyond the event horizon with instruments of light and theory, you can cultivate an inner instrument, a stillness so profound that it allows you to perceive the hidden dimension unfolding behind every loss, every ending, every death of an old identity. In practical terms, this means living with a quiet curiosity about the unknown rather than a reflexive fear. When a door closes, when a beloved form dissolves, you can ask yourself, what portal is opening now? What new universe is gestating in the darkness I cannot yet name? The black hole teaches us to honor the spaces where nothing seems to remain, for it is precisely there that the seeds of the miraculous are sown. This wisdom also extends to our collective transformation. As humanity faces crises of climate, culture, and consciousness, it is easy to see only the devouring maw of collapse. But perhaps we are passing through a planetary event horizon, one that will compel us to evolve beyond the limits we have imposed upon ourselves. In this sense, the black hole becomes a cosmic teacher, inviting us to imagine that beyond the dissolution of old systems lies the birth of a civilization attuned to the deeper currents of reality. To integrate this perspective is to live as an initiate of the mystery, one who understands that all creation springs from the fertile void. When you look up at the night sky and see the dark silhouettes of black holes against the scattering of stars, let them remind you of your own boundless nature. You, too, contain hidden dimensions waiting to be revealed. You, too, are a portal through which new worlds can emerge. And so, we arrive at the threshold of all thresholds. The question lingers like a soft echo across the chambers of your awareness. Are black holes secret portals to other dimensions? Or are they something more, something our limited symbols can only gesture toward? Perhaps they are invitations to remember that reality is neither fixed nor singular, but an endless series of unfoldings, each more wondrous than the last. If you allow yourself to feel past the edges of what you have been taught, past the sterile diagrams and tidy certainties, something profound begins to stir. A memory older than your name, a knowing deeper than language. It tells you that you have walked between worlds before, that you are not merely an observer of the cosmos, but a participant in its dreaming. That within your consciousness lies the same power that spins galaxies, ignites stars, and carves these hidden gateways in the fabric of existence. To contemplate black holes as portals is to accept that the universe is alive, an intelligence so vast it eclipses all calculation. It is to recognize that death is not an end, but a passage, that darkness is not an absence, but a gestation, that surrender is not erasure, but the prelude to revelation. In your own life, you will meet many event horizons, times when the known collapses and all that remains is the gravity of the unseen. In those moments, you are standing before your own singularity, and you have a choice: to contract in fear, or to trust that beyond the veil, a greater version of yourself is waiting to emerge. This is the invitation of the cosmic abyss, not to worship oblivion, but to remember that every dissolution is also a return to source, that your awareness is the bridge between dimensions, that you are both the dreamer and the dreamed. When you next look into the night sky, let your gaze rest on those invisible places where light itself is swallowed, and know that nothing is truly lost. All that enters the mystery is transformed, woven into new patterns, new possibilities, new worlds. If something in these words has awakened the quiet knowing inside you, let it become a seed. Water it with your attention. Feed it with your curiosity. Let it grow into a way of seeing that honors the hidden, the paradoxical, the sacred. For you are not here to merely survive. You are here to remember, to embody the luminous intelligence that holds all things together, even the darkness. The forgotten light in you is remembering. Don't turn away now. If this message resonates with your spirit, I invite you to share your reflections in the comments below. Subscribe for deeper explorations into the hidden architecture of reality. And share this message with those who, like you, are ready to journey beyond the visible into the infinite.